Giorgio Cafiero is the CEO of Gulf Estate Analytics, a geopolitical risk consultancy focusing on the Middle East. He joins me now live from Washington. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. This is not the first time something of this sort has happened. What is different this time around?
Yeah, great to be back on your network. You're absolutely right that this is certainly not the first time we've had such clashes between the two sides. There has been military confrontations between the Houthis and Israel shortly after the events of October 7th, 2023. But it has been a few months since Israel has been waging military operations against Yemen, so it was significant that this started again today. It's also a rather big deal what happened in terms of yesterday's Houthi attack on Israel. That it hit such a guarded facility is very notable. I think this really speaks to the fact that after such a long period of time in which the U.S. military and also the Israeli military have been attacking Yemen, the Houthis retain the ability to strike Israel and make Israel pay a huge price for the continuation of its genocide in Gaza. Yemen might be the poorest country in the Arab world. And for all the military action the U.S. and Israel have taken against Ansar Allah, the group is clearly determined to continue confronting Israel. It doesn't seem as though either Washington or Tel Aviv have done anything that seems to have come close to deterring the Houthis from continuing these operations.
Giorgio, from the Houthis' perspective, what do you think is their end game when it comes to these airstrikes?
Well, I think that the Houthis want to be able to take credit for eventually a ceasefire in Gaza and the lifting of the humanitarian blockade on Gaza. I think if that happens at some point, the Houthis would be in a position to claim that they were putting pressure on the Netanyahu government that led to that outcome. And that would certainly do a lot to contribute to a certain reputation that the Houthis are going for, not only in Yemen, but also throughout the wider Arab and Islamic world. I think also a goal that Ansar Allah has is to sort of demonstrate to the whole world that it is a force to contend with and that the Houthi power in Yemen is not going anywhere, and it has not only repercussions for Yemen, but also for the whole region and by extension, the rest of the world.
And Giorgio, do you see a significant escalation is going to happen in the wake of these attacks, given the fact that we have seen some strong retaliation coming from Israel now?
Yes, and I do agree with what your presenter was saying a few minutes ago. I do not see de-escalation on the table right now. I do not see either Ansar Allah or the Israeli side backing down. I think there will be more Houthi attacks against Israel as long as the genocide in Gaza is continuing. And I have no doubt that Israel will continue to wage punishing strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. That will do much to exacerbate the humanitarian crises in Yemen. I don't think it will deter the Houthis. But yeah, again, to answer your question very directly, I think we're on a path of escalation. What will matter is how the Trump administration decides to deal with this situation. And I also think it should be pointed out, we should point out that the Netanyahu government will absolutely exploit these dynamics to try to undermine the nuclear diplomacy between Washington and Tehran right now. Whether the Trump administration will allow Israel to succeed on that front is perhaps another question for another conversation.
Fascinating insights, Giorgio Cafiero. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for joining me here on TRT World.
Good to be with you.